Doing my makeup tonight or tomorrow. This makeup is a method that does not use foundation or concealer. It's called the Demi method. This concept came from Cara Brooke. It is something I've been doing for about 3 years now. Okay, I have a clean face. One part of my makeup for tomorrow, add some color in all of the areas that I am lacking color. I'm gonna be using a tanner. Cara uses a pen, watercolor pen. I have not found one successfully, so 1110, and I put it in a cap and a mirror. Use a small brush and to take the smallest amount. I'm gonna start with my eyes, lightly going to dot in some color in the light little areas. And if I feel I've gotten too much, I just tap it away. Around my nose. So hard to balance color on your nose without just doing like one color. You do contour, more mature. It just doesn't look natural and looks odd in person. This little method is wonderful because it shows zero texture and it balances out all the excess color around my nose. We're getting this part to bring balance in between the light and dark here. I get too much, I just tap. So you can see how much more balanced this is just on this side of my face. And I only went in very light areas with a small brush. Brush for my eyes because that are missing color are not as small. Just want to pounce the other end of the brush. And this is a Demi brush. And I also went right in here, right next to the lip color on the sides. But here in the Cupid's bow, I'm further away from it. Really liking it, so let's finish up my makeup. Brow wax. I tried to do the tanner in a watercolor pen, but I don't think I have a really good brand. If I had a really good one, I would do it everywhere, so it's done. I just press them down, making them stand up. Kind of come across and shape them just a little bit, so now filling them in is going to be a lot easier. I'm going to use Indigo Contour and the line brush and fill in little sparse areas. I'm going to add a little bit of warmth to my skin. I love using the 05 just in little pale areas, especially where I have blue veins. Right in here on my cheek. It's where you naturally have shadow, so that really helps tone that shadow, and at the same time it helps with that translucency, definitely here in the temples What I do find from adding the color last night, this is so much quicker and easier, and it did, I don't know, the processing's really quick. Don't forget underneath here, and I did go underneath here in these little light areas with the tanner, but I'm just going to use a little bit of 05 for those nice blue veins. I'm going to use Spellbound. You could use RV7, one of the Demi colors. You could use Black Cherry. You can pick any when it comes to cheek color. Highly recommend going to high saturation because you're going to, and very vibrant, because you're going to use it so sheerly. The color's not going to look that dark on the skin. Using a fluffier end of the spot brush, and I'm only going to tap into areas. Probably could do smaller end of the brush as well, in areas of, I want a nice little flush where you typically would flush. You can even come up here in the under eye area, because this is where you naturally have blood vessels, and it might be uneven, and this tones it up. I'm going to neutralize the tattooing around my eyes, 07, and the edge brush, and just neutralize that blue of that tattooing. Now I'm going to filter out any kind of distraction with Y01 and a little detailed artist brush. And I'm going to just dot. If I get too much, it's because I got too much on my brush. I'm going to tap it off. So much better if you can use very little. You should not be putting it on and then blending it out, because you're going back to square one and putting the color outside the area of need. So you just change the color around it, creating a halo around it. Because I added color last night here and here, so now just a couple little dark points within that crease, and the whole line is softened up. Since I added color with the tanner, with depth of color, with a small brush and small little spaces in between, like an age spot or anything that has a significant amount of color, I find that filtering is even easier, and I can filter maybe just with one color instead of 2-3 colors, because I have additional color. So the things that were distracting, because I filled in the color in between those areas, which I thought was going to be a lot of work, when it really turns out it was a lot quicker, especially on the side that I think I have more aging and more discoloration, and it's not as smooth in color. It was a lot easier and quicker to add color in between those areas, and now this is a lot more toned, and that's hard to do with foundation. On my forehead, where there's going to be less blood flow, just have the blue veins, but there's not going to be a lot of those little capillaries. Anything with depth of color that's in between where I've added some color, and it's still just a small little dark point, an age spot, brown spot, but it's dull. You use 03. You can always clean off your brush, get the smallest amount, and just dot. I always get too much on my brush. It's okay. If you do, just tap it off. It literally takes so little, and it's a lot easier if you just take off the excess off the brush. What I really love about adding the color here, or especially on this side, is definitely have a lot more like a divot right in here. I always have had it, but it just gets more prominent because of age spots and sun damage, and to just more hollow. Because it's shadowed, I'm using a couple of dots of 03 in the deepest part of it, and it just ends up being a couple of freckles in there that throw the whole thing off. So I just want to take out the depth of that color. Same thing in here. This is more recessed than the other, so I use a little bit of 03, dotting it right in the middle of that hollowness, that recessed area, just to tone it down in the depth a little bit. And then now this is so much better. And I want to add a little bit of lip color, just using a little bit of Spellbound. Just added mascara. All right, I really love that concept of using the tanner with a tiny little brush, only in the delicate areas. You could do it everywhere, and it would be done the next day, maybe for a few days. And then you can just add warmth and flush to your cheeks, eyes, lips, and you're done. Really like that concept. That is the Demi method. I have tons of tutorials in my feed on that. If you're afraid of the tanner, totally understand, but you can use the contours as well, and you've seen me do that. So it just gives you another option to try. What I really love is zero texture on my skin. It feels like I have nothing on my skin and literally last as long as I want to wear it. You want to be color matched? I can send you graphics and some clips specific to you to help you to understand the placement and how to use it. Just grabbing a few correctors, some contours, and playing around with that concept of adding color where you need it. You can go to yes.altheamatchme.com. If you have any questions about this process, I'll show you what it looks like in different light as well.